Guys, welcome back into the channel. We are here with another episode on Yoders Talk. We're excited to have you here. Corey McClendon, my co-host, sitting here beside me. As always, I'm Clinton Yoder, and we are here to bring you another episode. We have a great guest coming on today, and one of our sponsors, and we're going to have a good time. Corey, you ready to get it underway?
Yeah, we're ready to roll, baby.
Let's do it, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to another episode of Yoders Talk. And it gives me chills you saying what you said. You know, for me as business owner, I tell people all the time that, you know, I'm first and foremost, my faith is everything. Like that's where everything starts. And I've prayed over and over, God, where I'm not a pastor, so where do I belong?
Yeah.
In your work, in the work of God, you know, where do I belong? And it took me a long time to realize that my business is my playground.
Yeah.
My business is, and I call my playground for Christ.
Yeah.
Had text me, now we were on the phone. It was like 2 weeks before the Masters. He was like, hey, my stepmom has like a connection to like to get some pretty cool tickets and stuff. And he's like, she's trying to get Masters tickets. Would you want to go? And I was like, yeah.
I don't even have to pray about that.
I was like, Dad, I'm going to tell you a couple places that I'm in. I was like, Masters, World Series. You don't even have to ask. I'll clear a calendar.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't
Quit
care.
a job.
Yeah. I quit my job.
I was like, I'm there.
Yeah.
I was like, the Braves ain't even got to be in the World Series because Lord knows they probably will never be again.
Not this year.
But no, golly.
Well, guys, welcome in. We're excited to get this episode kicked back off. We are going on through this season's episode. I think it's episode 5, Corey. I think so. Episode 6, 5, 4.
Somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there.
We're
I
in
don't know.
season
Sean,
4.
you know where it's at. We'll let you deal with that. But we're in season 4 of some kind. So, man, we're excited to bring another episode to the world today. We have a good friend of ours on today. Good friend.
Got a really great friend, a mentor, a pastor of mine, Mr. Travis Key, and also one of our really good sponsors, Stroke Gains.
Yeah.
And man, we're just and not only that, we are on the coaching staff of the first place Morris 8U team.
That's right,
so,
baby. Let them know.
How many games y'all in?
God, what is our record right now?
I think are we 6-1?
I think
now?
6,
wow.
but we don't count the midseason tournament.
Yeah, I wasn't there.
Yeah,
6-1.
you weren't there. I had to pitch. That's always a recipe for
Yeah.
It's not a good idea.
Yeah, you want the guy with the high ERA.
They
in this league.
brought me in like the closer. Like I almost had Inner Sandman play, and
But it shut these kids down.
I just started throwing lasers at them. They've never seen it.
Oh man, it's a blast.
Oh, it's awesome.
That's
But,
great. That's great.
Man, we're so excited. Me and you've talked a ton lately now that our boys are playing together, and that's been such a awesome thing. But man, welcome back, because you were on, I think, season 2.
Yeah, I think somewhere in there.
Something like that.
Season
but
2. It's kind of right when everything really kicked off, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was,
right in that time frame.
Yeah. So we'll give you the credit for that one.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you. I'm honored to be here. Honestly, the work you guys are doing is absolutely fabulous, and it's really cool to look behind the wall right here and see a YouTube plaque with 100K subscribers. Man, that's a big deal.
Yeah,
like, that doesn't happen.
I appreciate that. It's humbling, honestly.
Yeah,
truly is. I mean, we never dreamed it'd be where it is.
Yeah.
We should have dreamed that big, but we didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest.
And fast.
And quick.
Fast.
Like, I mean, remarkably quick. I mean, it seemed like it happened overnight.
Yeah.
But and it's steadily growing. I haven't even looked where it's at.
I hadn't either. Sean, do you know where we're at now?
I think it's
113,000.
113,000. So
that's just
growing.
a Jesus thing.
Yeah.
Because I mean, obviously, you know me. I'm not that special.
Hey, look, we need to go ahead and get this one out of the way. All right. So, Corey, as far as coaching staff goes, all right. So, you have Jake, who is just fabulous as a head coach for kids. And then you have me, who is an emotional roller coaster, okay? Like, I could be the chillest guy or the most intense man. And so poor Corey, like as much as he's trying to manage the kids, he is managing Jake and I. There have been plenty of times where an umpire has made a wrong call and he's got two guys going out there at it, and it's me and Jake, and Corey's like, "Come on,
guys, come back."
Yeah.
Well, it's
Corey's
funny.
my baseball pastor, is
Like,
what I call him.
it's really funny is like you. So obviously, I've coached with Coach Jake Grooms, which is he's a fabulous guy when it comes to like knowing the game, but holding the kids to a standard, which is and teaching principles that are outside of baseball.
Yes.
But he can be intense at times, and I
love it.
And which is great. I love that my boy plays for him because I don't have to be intense.
Yeah.
And so, and then you, which has been just awesome, because it's so if for the listeners, Travis is my pastor, and so I'm in a unique position at times.
Me too.
So not only am I sitting there just trying to make sure the kids are having a great time, they fall in love with the game of baseball and stuff, and not make a stupid call or something and get a kid out, but I'm also trying to teeter a line of not ending up in a sermon.
Oh, no, it's going to happen. It will happen.
So just to give you some context, Easter Sunday morning, I'm sitting in the 9 o'clock service, and he starts out, you told a story about helping Michelle out, but when you first said, like, I was at the ballpark, I was like, oh gosh,
no,
not on Easter.
Yeah. Everyone's here. Yeah.
But it's been such a cool little thing, and it's been, I know Jer has really enjoyed it, and it's funny. Like Jer, he's such a funny kid. He's like oblivious to anything.
Oh, he's a great
kid.
kid.
Until you like finally just shake him, and so obviously, we've been going there for a couple years now, and he's talked to you several times.
Yeah.
But like after the first practice, Jared walks in the church and he's like, "Was that Coach Travis?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah." Yeah.
Yeah.
You talking about the guy that's been our pastor for the last 2 years?
I'd rather be called Coach Travis.
Yeah. It's
Like, if I can get the rest of the church calling me Coach Travis, that'd be awesome.
I was like, "Yeah, buddy." So it's just been awesome.
Yeah.
But,
hey, I heard some other news that you spent you ended up over at the Masters.
I did, man.
How was it?
Oh my gosh. It's a dream. Number one. I spent too little money and I spent too much money. And let me explain. My wife just perked up and looked at me. Okay. So, the food there is so inexpensive, right? I had 7 pimento cheese sandwiches, 1 barbecue sandwich, some lemonade and waters all throughout. And I think I spent $30 in 12 hours of being there on food. And then spent a lot more on merch.
Yeah.
But I will say, Masters-wise, man, I had a few surprises, because I'm a golf nerd,
right?
And the course is perfect. And everything they say about the TV doesn't do it justice, like green undulation, the fairway bunkers. That was probably the biggest surprise. It's like every fairway bunker is like a tidal wave is in front of you.
Yeah.
I think there's members that have died in there from never getting out. You know what I mean? But the best part about the entire experience, and I think you guys will appreciate this as business leaders, as great as the course was, the customer service was 3 times better.
Yeah.
And I've been to 4 other PGA Tour events in different locations, different types of tournaments. And being at the Masters was closer to being at Disney than it was being at a tournament. Like just the way they treat you, everyone that is there to make sure that you have the best day possible. The bathroom attendants, the concession stand guy. I mean, like just, I'm kind of an observer of teams. I love seeing how things function. I remember when we had our kids and we were in the OR and I'm watching these nurses call out and do all these things right on clipboards. Like I study that stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think that was, I was not expecting that. And then just that day, the people of the entire place was even better in the tournament,
Yeah.
which it just blew my mind. But yeah, it's nuts, man.
That's a dream of mine. One of
I
these
know.
days.
I was hoping you'd bring me back a pimento cheese sandwich, but maybe next
Brother,
time.
there was no. I didn't make it 5 foot before they were gone. Hey,
I get it.
I ate those things in 2 bots like Scooby Doo,
That's what I do.
and went back in line. Hey, there was a couple of times I would go through the line, eat, and was like, it's not enough.
Yeah.
You go back through.
But
Yeah.
it's funny. Like my dad texted me. Now we were on the phone. It was like 2 weeks before the Masters. He was like, "Hey, my stepmom has like a connection to like to get some pretty cool tickets and stuff." And he's like, she's trying to get Masters tickets. Would you want to go? And I was like,
Like,
yeah.
I don't even have to pray about that.
I was like, Dad, I'm going to tell you a couple places that I'm in. I was like, Masters, World Series. You don't even have to ask. I'll clear a calendar.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't
Quit
care.
a job.
Yeah. I quit my job.
I was like, I'm there.
Yeah.
I was like, Braves ain't even got to be in the World Series because Lord knows they probably will never be again.
Not this year.
But no, golly. But yeah, no, I live vicariously through you when you're over there.
I want to go back. You know, if I ever do get to go back, I went that day like I'll never go back. I mean, I saw every inch of that place. You know, bought as much merchandise for me and the family as I could. But if I go back, there's a couple of unwritten rules there that I just think is really neat. One, if you have a chair, you can set your chair down, and then it's an unwritten rule that you can get up and leave and come back to it whenever you want to.
Oh, nice.
But when you get up and leave, the polite unwritten rule is that people can sit in your chair until you come back. And everyone's so polite. There's no craziness. There's no partying. Like, there's no bars. You know, I've been to other tournaments. Every other hole, there's a bar, and people are kind of going too hard. It wasn't like that. There was just an etiquette about the entire place, a respectfulness. And being without your phone for 12 hours, I didn't realize
that
was
great.
amazing.
I bet.
Yeah.
Huh, interesting.
Well,
Yeah, and you watch it on TV, and you see how everybody's so engaged.
It is, man.
Everybody's just locked in.
Yeah. Well, listen, Masters tournament. Get us some tickets. All three of us will go. Okay.
Absolutely.
We're there.
The application period is June 1st to the 20th.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I'm gonna do 20 false emails.
I know. That's what
Yeah.
I told Lauren. I was like, so, you know how like you do these like little giveaways for like makeup and stuff, and you make me fill out you know things. I was like, that's how I need you to go at this Masters.
We're
thing.
gonna do 17 of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like so.
Yeah.
She said she got me, so we'll see.
That'd be
But-
great.
So Travis, let's jump into just a little bit. Talk to us about, first of all, we love stroke gains.
Absolutely.
So
And I'll tell you, my mother likes stroke gains. She's actually
I'm
buying.
seeing her orders come
she,
through.
She said that she's been trying to find something, and I don't mean to interrupt
No.
you, but I got to say this. She said that she's been trying to find. She gets cramps.
Yeah.
So bad, like
Yeah.
she just cramps up all the time, and she's been trying to find something that the flavor's good.
Yeah.
First of all,
Yeah. It's very tough to find.
and she loves it.
Oh,
So
man.
she's been using a lot of mine. That's the problem.
Yeah.
She's been using a lot of mine. So I
Yeah.
told her the other day she's got to start ordering her own.
Yeah. No, I get it. I see those orders come through, and I'm like, man, they're taking care of us. I love it. Yeah.
yeah,
So-
I know. It makes me. I tell people like when I go out on the golf course, I'll pop one open, throw it in there,
Yeah.
and I'm like, it gets. I mean, if you want to drop 5 strokes,
Come
that's
on.
what you put in your gun.
You're seeing my salesman,
And
man.
so-
Inside sales. Let's go.
I mean, it's still
It doesn't,
garbage.
It doesn't help me.
I
I
mean,
mean,
for
it's
him.
still that's still
Aw.
25 over.
Hey, that's fine.
Here's the
But
thing: we're starting. I have to continue talking the smack because tomorrow morning is when the Yoders Cup, our company, has
I've
our
heard
tournament
about it.
starts tomorrow morning, and this year we're doing teams.
Yeah,
Mm.
2-man scramble.
Yep, and we're in the same group, so
Yeah,
it's
not on the same
not
team.
not on the same team, just in the same
That'd
group.
be unfair.
It's
But
unfair.
Yeah,
Oh man,
But,
that's gonna be awesome.
it is
fun.
going to be cool. But yeah, we love the stuff. We've been. I know you were actually on the carnivore diet
Mm-hmm.
for a little bit, and it helped you
Oh,
a ton.
dramatic. See, the carnivore diet, you don't get enough magnesiums and all
Yeah,
that.
your
that stuff.
minerals
Yeah,
are-
minerals and stuff.
yeah.
And I would lock up in bed, like I would.
Yeah.
I mean, just middle of the night, foot.
I'm stuck.
Yeah, just like
I'm stuck. Yeah.
And I started consistently. I'd actually do 2 packs a day. Just
Yeah, that's fine.
2
Yeah.
packs a day, and man, it went completely away.
Yeah.
Completely away. So.
So tell us. I know the big thing this year is you guys went to the PGA convention, wasn't it? Or
Yeah, the PGA show.
Yeah, the PGA show. That's what it's called.
Yeah, man. It has been such a really, really neat journey. You know, I can give you the long backstory after this, but yeah, PGA show was in January, and you know, we're in our first year of business. We're 19 days away from it being 1 year that we've been launched our business.
Well, happy anniversary.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And so you basically, that year one, a good book to reference is Ready, Fire, Aim. That's what you're doing. It's not ready, aim, fire, right? You're throwing stuff out there to see what sticks. And so one of those was the PGA show. I believe that I'd heard about it, you know, just from like social media and some other various places. And we took the cost of going down there, which is not very cheap, to go down there and set up our booth. Luckily, being in Portable Church, I knew exactly what to get, you know, as far as like signage and everything. And we set that mug up like real quick. It
looked good.
Yeah. And so we went down there middle of January. It was in Orlando, and I drove my camper shell truck down there. I'll tell you a funny story about breaking down on the way back. But yeah, we went down there, and up until that point, we had about 30 Clubhouse accounts. And so the North Star of our company is to work directly with golf course clubhouses, pro shops, right? And so, yeah, we doubled our business while we were down there. We went from like 30 to about 63 while we were down there. And then one cool thing was that happened really recently, and it's kind of where we've shifted most of our wholesale focus. One of the pros came up to us and was like, hey, could I, and I knew the guy. He said, hey, can I buy those shaker bottles for my member guest tournament? And so, of course, yeah, sure. Yeah. We never sold those. We gave them away as a promotional item. And so I was like, hey, give me a little time. Let me come up with a bundle. And so we came up with this bundle package where you get the shaker bottle, 4 sticks inside the shaker, a ball marker, and then it's wrapped, and they have the option of putting their logo on there. We work with our manufacturer. And it shows you one of those God things where he's looking out for you. I'd offer that back at a price I thought was, you know, reasonable. And he comes back, he's like, you need to charge more for that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, you know, say less.
Yeah.
And so now we've done 15 of those orders. And the cool part about it, from a business standpoint, that's quadruple the revenue.
Yeah.
In each individual client. And it's more personal. And so a really big update was the very first to receive that bundle package. And I met the pro at the PGA show, is Quail Hollow, where they're hosting a major championship this year, the PGA championship. And they've been fabulous to work with. And so that was kind of one of those things, you know, where you just feel like the Lord's kind of looking out for you, and it's like, hey, what you didn't even realize, I'm going to bring to life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, yeah, I went to the PGA show, all that to say, and discovered a few things, you know, to make business better, and then built new relationships. That's who I am.
Yeah.
You know, I love building relationships with guys, and yeah, it's been a wild ride.
That's awesome, man. We talked about it this morning and we'll get into this a little bit too then later, about how you do it. I mean, you have your pastor. I mean, you got a lot going.
Just a little bit.
You got a lot going.
My wife and I talk about that a lot.
Yeah. So, but it's awesome. I mean, it's just seeing the growth from the outside. I mean, and it may be because algorithms know that we love stroke gains, but it seems like I see it everywhere.
Yeah.
Like good.
Like everywhere I click,
means that marketing's working.
Yeah, I mean,
we're trying that. Yeah.
I searched it on Chat GPT just now, and it's got it all broke down, every detail about it, and
come on.
It's pretty awesome.
That's so awesome, man. I'm glad Chat GPT knows us. I think we're okay.
Yeah, it's really cool. That's what I remember I went to Coleman one time, and this was, I mean, it had to be last year. It was very early.
Yeah.
And I saw it, and I'm like, there's my boy's stuff right there.
Come on.
And so to see it grow, dude, like that's what I can probably speak for Clinton. Like I love it because it's like I get to cheer you on just a little bit and seeing, because y'all actually got a little call out or shout out on the TV channel. Right?
That's a wild story. Yeah. So we are tearing down at the last day of the PGA show, that Friday. And it is an absolute circus when that place is torn down. The PGA show in general, if you ever just get a chance to go, I don't think in the 3 days allotted you could see everything.
Yeah.
It is massive. More, I'd say it's the Comic-Con for golf, right? It's crazy. And so we're tearing down at the PGA show. I run out to get my truck to try and get in line because there's all these 18-wheelers rolling in, and it's like a zombie movie of people evacuating a building. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, and I get 4 phone calls back to back to back to back from 4 people that are not connected.
Yeah.
Because at first I'm like, something's happened to my family.
Yeah.
You know? But then, like, these people of all different types of influence in my life, I'm like, this can't be. And then I'm getting text message, and they're like, hey, Strokes Gained is on the Golf Channel right now. And I'm like, what? And so I'm like, hey, record it. I can't. I'm sitting in a truck and people are yelling at me, you know? And so, yeah, it was really cool. NBC actually, I just thought it was really neat of them. They actually sent us the video afterwards and were like, hey, use this for any marketing. And so it's all over our website right now.
Awesome,
and yeah, we were grateful for that one.
It's just crazy how God just, you know, you never see it becoming what it is as quickly as it does most times when you, especially when you commit it to God and allow God to just take control of it. And why it's funny, I say this a lot, that why are we shocked?
I don't know.
Why are we shocked when things do, like things happen that we're like, how did that even come to light? Well, it's because we have a God that cares. He cares about them small things, and cares about their business, and cares about all the details. And but yet we're shocked. It's kind of like the podcast we talked about, how we don't know how. Well, we've committed it to God. I mean, it's a God thing.
When it's
100%.
His.
Yes, and that's what's so beautiful about it is, and listeners, encourage you. I mean, commit your business to God. I mean, it's all His anyway, and you can see success happen that you never imagined.
Yeah, no. That's literally where we are. I mean, our whole business journey from the start of it, and I can give you all that full backstory if you want, has just been the Lord.
Yeah, share a little bit on it. I'd love to hear.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever given the full story in public before, so we'll just drop this right here.
Let's do it.
The Yoders Talk exclusive.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about where exactly to begin. So at the age of 7, I'm just playing.
We'll be here for a while.
Yeah. No, man. Obvious I'm a pastor, and I've talked to Corey a little bit about this, but man, I spent probably the better part of a decade thinking I was going to plant a church, and my wife is over there, so I'm trying not to look at her, but I was trying to do it on my own will, right? And I felt like God had put some of these dreams inside of my heart. And so I don't know about how you guys operate in your relationship with the Lord, but whenever I feel like He gives me something, I take off. You know what I mean? I'm like, got it. I'll see you when I need you. You know what I mean? Which is so terrible to say as a pastor. And so, man, I had tried to knock my own doors down for about 6 or 7 years. I thought I was going to plant a church in this place, in that place. Michelle and I drove all over the country. We drove to Wichita, Kansas one time with 3-month-old twins. It's just, that's not from Jesus. That's not. Went to different cities, and couldn't figure out why. Like, this just wasn't it. Had been working in conjunction with my pastor, Andy, who's the best I know. And finally, I had this church offered to me a couple years ago in Kentucky. Wanted it really bad, like really bad. And I was like, this is obviously it. And again, that door just got slammed in my face. And I don't know another way to put this, but as a pastor, pray for your pastors, because as much as we talk about how people come on and put on their Christian face inside churches, pastors do it the worst. Yeah. And me being the most guilty of all those. And I get why you have to do that sometimes, because you're trying to lead from the front. But the only way I know how to put it, after just that whole Kentucky situation got shut down, I was unhealthy. Like, I was not okay. You know what I mean? And thought like, I'm going to get out of this. Like I'm going to do whatever. And just wasn't okay. It ended up in therapy, and it just wasn't myself. You know what I mean? Still trying to pursue Jesus, but like in full transparency, my relationship with him was weird, you know, and didn't really want to, if I'm honest. And I'm playing golf one day, and the two guys I play with primarily, they're in their mid 70s and they only walk. And one of them's a retired kidney doctor, and they don't ride in a cart, man. And so me in my 30s, I can't let them outdo me. You know, I can't be riding a cart while two old guys are walking, you know. And so I'm walking with them. And one of these guys, Dr. Tom, he makes sure that we drink water on every single station. And we were literally just downing water. It's really hot. It's when that heat wave came through a couple years ago. Yeah. And we get to the 18th tee box, and I look over, and Dr. Tom is on his hands and knees, like, you know, waving, kind of going in and out of consciousness. And so luckily there was a maintenance crew nearby, and so we got him up to safety, and he was good. We found him, you know, a Gatorade or something that they had in there. Like, we just knew he was dehydrated. And so Dr. Tom ended up being okay. Saw him a couple weeks ago. He's doing great. But I'm laying down in bed that night, and I'm thinking about good shots, bad shots, mostly bad shots. And I started thinking about Dr. Tom. That's where I kind of asked the question. I was like, why doesn't, some of these large electrolyte companies, why don't they provide to golf courses specifically? You're outside. Typically, golf is played in tropical, warm, or humid weather.
100%.
A place where you will sweat, right? And so I just kind of sat on it for a couple of days, and I called one of my best friends in the world. We went to ministry school together. He's in Jupiter, Florida, otherwise known as heaven, okay? Yeah. Golf heaven, at least. And he pastors down there, and I called him, and I told him that story, and he said, man, it's kind of crazy you say that. A guy from church, same thing happened. He's on the golf course, passes out. And it was my business partner. Now, I'm a big idea guy. I will come up with a new idea that we'll run with, like in an instant, But it was actually my business partner who said we should do something. And in my phase of all of my hope getting deferred and shut down by the Lord, I'm like, I'll do anything. Come on. And we began this journey, man, for about a year. Started working on a formula. I'm a bit of a fitness junkie too. Not fitness. A supplement junkie, okay? I got into working out because of pre-workout and how it made my face itch. You know what I mean? Right.
That's the good stuff.
Yeah. Like if I didn't work out, I would be on drugs. And so I knew a little bit about the world, right, at surface level. And I knew a little bit about hydration, electrolyte levels. And so I started doing my research, and it's crazy, man, because in the game of golf as a whole stays about 10 to 15 years behind on other sports, right? So you ever seen the movie Moneyball, right? Brad Pitt, a guy named Billy Bean.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, fabulous movie. Well, Billy Bean, he comes up with this new way to do metrics inside of baseball. Well, Billy Bean didn't just change baseball. He changed all of sports, right? That's why they shoot more three-pointers, why they go for it on fourth down more. And in the game of golf, they realized that the metrics were archaic. And so it was just fairways and regulation, green and regulation. Well, this guy named Mark Brody, who's a professor, comes up with this new term called strokes gained. And it's a new metric inside the game of golf. It's what everybody's going to. You see it on, the Masters.
Yep.
We watched it.
They talk about, like, hey, the last 5 tournaments, these are the guys that have gained strokes that –
right.
And I heard a guy.
I love hearing
was kind
that
of
name
funny
when they say it.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because I was listening to the guy. I was like, these are the guys that there's only like 6 guys that have a shot out of this whole field, and it's because they were talking about their stroke gains. Yeah. I was like,
well, when they came out with this new metric, golf started to change because these guys started to realize I need to be bigger, faster, and stronger, like every other sport has been doing for the last 25 years. And so that's why you saw Bryson DeChambeau bulk up during COVID. It's why you see Rory doing all this swing training. It's why you see all of these guys, and truth be told, Tiger was the only one doing it when he played. That's why he was so good. It was because of fitness, hydration, and nutrition.
Yeah.
That's what separated him. And so going back to us, we realized that recently there's been a lot of study done about fitness, nutrition, and hydration inside the game of golf. And so we hit it really right at the right time. This metric comes out. We also found out that term wasn't trademarked.
Oh,
yeah.
that's good.
And so we just got our registered trademark like 3 weeks ago. Went through the whole process for that. And but because of that, we felt like we hit it really at the right time. So there's a lot of articles out there from PGA of America to Titleist Performance Institute and a lot of university study done on hydration inside the game of golf. A lot of things that people don't realize is like a 2% reduction in your electrolyte levels. You're like a C+ athlete at best, not just body-wise, but cognitively. And so we all know golf is 90% mental than it is physical, right? And what a lot of people don't realize is that they feel like, man, the 14th hole, what's the deal? I keep falling apart. I'm having a good round. I keep falling apart. Well, it's probably because your brain function isn't optimal. It's because you've had a reduction. You've been out there, you sweat more than you know. Everybody sweats different, and I'm not a medical professional. But if you're not replenishing yourself, you can't stay at that level. Every other sport takes care of that. That's why there's electrolytes on the sideline of a football game. They realize how important it is. Well, in golf, no one's really thinking that. And so we designed our product to be a golf specific. I can nerd if you want to on why we believe it's more golf specific than other brands that separates us a little bit. But yeah, we took about a year to build that and launched it May of 2024.
Yeah. So that's why I think I can hit out of a tree and it's only that far of a gap. It's because I don't have enough electrolytes, or is that just because I'm an idiot?
What's it from the Sandlot? Heroes get remembered, but legends never die. Right?
It's actually one of the first.
You're just trying to make legendary moments.
Me and Sean, one of the first times we went golfing, we were at Coleman, and Lord, what hole was that? 7. I got over in some trees, and so I was like, it was probably 100 yards out, and I was like, he was like, you want to chip out in the fairway? It's like, no. Grabbed my 5-wood and just swung it with a putter stroke.
Yeah.
And hit the little berm there and popped up on the green. He was like, how did you do that?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I look really good shooting from out of trees. But you put me in a fairway, I look like I've never been there.
I get it.
Because I never am. I do think, I think you're on to something. I was watching like a Tiger documentary and seeing the physical stuff on it.
Yeah.
It just seems like the game's changing with golf.
Changed.
And I don't think we'll ever see another John Daly.
I don't think that those guys.
That's a rare breed.
I don't think you'll just see another John Daly in general. He can only be him.
Golly, I long to see somebody smoke a Marlboro Red at the 18th hole.
I don't
know why.
I think it's John. Yeah, what is it about us as men that like that?
I don't know.
But I you saying that about you kind of reach a point on the course where you wonder what's happened. And if we're honest, we may gravel water because you don't think about it. You don't think about that this game is actually physical. I mean, you put more into it than what you think.
There's way more torque on your
Absolutely.
body.
And I thinking back when you said that about getting to the 14th hole, there's been many rounds of golf where that's happened to me, where I feel like this could be my best round of golf I've ever had.
Yeah.
And you get towards the end, and all of a sudden you're just like, what has happened?
Yeah. And you can't explain it.
Yeah, and you can't even. But the brain fog, I believe, thinking through that, before you were precise on what you're trying to accomplish, what you're wanting to do, and you get through a hole where it just fell apart, and then you stop and think back. You're like, well, I never really even thought through what I was doing.
And a lot of that. Why'd I rush into that? Yeah,
100%.
I'm not thinking 360 degrees.
Yeah, so that makes sense. So I need to, with the tournament tomorrow, I got to. After the podcast, we're going to have to get going here. Today's focus is electrolytes.
Well, and one of the key factors with us, there's 6 times the amount of electrolytes in our product than there is in Gatorade. But I think the main differentiator is the amount of sodium. So the product I took beforehand had 1,000 milligrams of sodium in it, which I think is fabulous if you just did a CrossFit workout. 25 minutes of just pushing your body and you're just emptied, right? Well, in golf, that can have an adverse effect on you because that amount of sodium influxed into your body all at once makes you jittery. And I think we all know if I'm jittery on the golf course, like that affects my touch and feel, that affects my nerves, all of that. And so there's 483 milligrams inside there, and it's pink Himalayan salt, a little bit more absorbent.
I seen that.
You know? And so that was kind of one of the key factors for us is let's put a median range of sodium in there and then backfill it with the vitamins, B6, B12, vitamin C, things like that.
Yeah, good stuff. Well,
I was gonna say before we jump into anything else, let's hear a little bit more about your product and stuff. So let's take a break. We'll hear from the sponsor spot.
guys, we got to talk to you about strokes gained hydration. Because let's be real, most of us don't drink enough water, and when we do, it's usually missing the electrolytes we actually need.
Exactly. Strokes Gained is designed to keep you hydrated the right way, with the perfect balance of electrolytes, no unnecessary sugars, and clean ingredients that help you feel and perform your best, whether you're out on the course, at the gym, or just tackling a busy day.
We've been using it, and the difference is unreal. Better energy, better focus, no midday crashes. If you want to stay on top of your game, check them out at strokesgained.com, strokesgained.com, and use code YodersTalk for an exclusive discount.
Hydrate smarter, feel better, and keep winning your day with Strokes Gained. Well, all right. So the one thing I did want to talk to you, and I prepped you on this. I told you,
Did you?
A little bit. Between yelling at children last night and telling them to stop climbing fences.
Oh, man.
And the frog incident. We had a frog that threw our dugout for I don't even know if you knew about that.
I didn't know about that.
So
I just assumed that they were all on drugs.
no, yeah, well,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Yeah.
No, we had a frog incident right before we went onto the field. One of our right fielder found a frog, and he was like, "Look, guys, I have a frog," and I'm like,
Wait,
"Please put the frog
Is
down."
it Levi?
No, left fielder. Sorry, left fielder.
Okay.
So,
yes.
I guess I
Okay.
could say Henry.
Oh, of course, Henry. Yes.
Henry
I love
found
Henry.
a frog, and so I've got 6 kids trying to look at the frog, and I got one saying, "Let's kill it," and I'm like,
Old Testament.
I'm like, guys, back up.
Yeah.
Like, let the other team get out of the dugout. But anyway, one thing that I admire out of you, and I know what you're going to say, you're going to be like, "No, dude, I don't have a great handle on it." I don't understand how you manage your time, because it seems like you're spinning like 18 plates.
Yeah.
And I'm over here with just my couple plates, and I'm about to lose. I got gray hair because of all my plates. So how do you kind of, because not only are you're doing this with Stroke Gains,
Yeah.
you're a pastor, and I know how much of a toll that takes. Then you're a husband, and it seems like, I'll have to check with her, that you do a pretty decent job as
I
being
don't
a
know.
husband.
You'd have to ask her.
Yeah, but and then you have twins.
Yeah.
And Lord, I've got 2, but luckily they're spaced out. I got an 8 and a 2-year-old, which the 2-year-old, prayer.
Yeah. I
That's
know.
all
I
I
get
can
that.
say.
That phase. That's when I was unhealthy, actually.
How do you manage, getting everything
Yeah.
that you got to get done, still being a dad, still being a husband, and still kind of having that relationship with Christ?
Yeah. Well, let me address the occupation side of it first, because right before we launched our company, I had a pastor friend of mine that I sat down with, and he said something that really set me free with perspective, because I was really worried about it. I was worried about the optics. I was worried about my time. I was worried about what other people would think. And so I sat down with a really good friend of mine, went to the Masters with him, Trey Norrell. He's the pastor at Grace in Coleman. Yeah, they just opened.
Great dude.
One of the best humans I know.
Yeah.
Genuinely, we've had some good God conversations. But I sat down with him because he's in the business world. He's in insurance, and he pastors a church, a really good sized church. And so I said, "Hey, how do you handle this?" Right? Because I have all these factors I'm thinking through. And he told me a story about when he was in seminary at Beeson, and he had this professor that he loved. Like, everyone loved this professor. So this professor has everybody over to his house, and he takes them out to the backyard, and he shows these students a literal World War II museum, and showing all these different things and artifacts that he's collected. And he turns to the guys and he says, "All of you, if you're going to be in ministry, you need to have a World War II museum." And so Trey's like, "Hey, I like World War II documentaries, but like, I'm not going to start." And he's like, "You're missing the point." He's saying you have to have something outside of ministry where you're not around people who think like you, act like you, look like you. You need your own World War II museum. And he said, for me, it's business. I didn't realize that was going to be the exact same thing for me. Mm-hmm. And so I get from the outside looking in from a time standpoint, and yes, very hard to manage, still struggle with it. But I think the way we approach time is all about our perspective. Mm-hmm. I read a really good book a long time ago that said that God exists outside of space and time. And so if we have the perspective of, I don't work for my time works for me, mm-hmm. you get a lot more of it, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. And so we began this journey with Strokes Gained. One of the greatest parts about it, I'll tell a couple stories and come back to it. It was the first event we ever did, Cherokee Ridge. Pete Sands, great Christian guy that runs Cherokee Ridge. And I'm setting up a tent, don't really know what I'm doing. Well, I'm 2 tents down from this one dude, and they're just in a different mindset than I am, right? Just their approach to business, and like, I'll leave it at that, right? The way they were trying to draw customers over there was a lot different than the way I was trying to draw customers over there. And so the guy comes up to me, we kind of have a little conversation, and it kind of went a little below surface level. When he comes back, and he comes over to me, he goes, "Hey, you're different, man. Like, you're different than all these guys that I've been with out here." And so I got to share Jesus with him. Yeah. I shared the gospel with him. And so he still watches our church online right now, because he lives pretty far away, and we still text. We talk about Christ. But I got in my truck that day to go home, and dude, I broke. I started weeping, like uncontrollable weeping. And here's what happened. I realized that God, it still hits me. I'm still convicted about it. It hit me in the truck that day that I couldn't remember the last time that I had shared the gospel with somebody, not from a stage.
Yeah.
And it just broke me in half, man. And so, you talked about the PGA show. We go down to the PGA show, and everyone's down there to play golf the day before. All the golf courses are loaded up. We're not even on the first tee, and there's this random guy, like 10 minutes before we're supposed to go off, just starts unloading his life to me and where he's at and how depressed he is and how hopeless he feels. And so he stops and he goes, "I don't know why I'm telling you all this. Like, you don't know who I am." And in like the back of my mind, I'm like, I know, And so I got to share the gospel with him.
Yeah.
Right there, the day before the PGA show. And I didn't even think about the PGA show that day. I was texting my friend in Orlando that's a pastor, and I'm like, "I'm getting you connected with this guy.
Yeah.
I need you to get him to church. Whatever you do, get him to church.
Yeah.
Right? Get him plugged into the local body." And that's when I started to realize, like, oh, this business, it's not an electrolyte powder.
Yeah.
It's a World War II museum.
Yeah. That
puts me around people that don't speak Christianese, that don't look like me and talk like me and have the same mindset and have the same values. But that's probably the most exciting thing about what I do now with our company, is I have something outside of my little bubble, my little circle. Whether we know it or not, we need to have that circle, but puts me around lost people, man. Yeah. Like, they're lost as last year's Easter egg out there. Yeah. You know what I mean? And So when I approach business from that perspective, again, like you guys said, it's God's, right? He takes it away.
Absolutely.
First time in my life, and I mean it, because I've had to work through so much refinement and pride that I'm open-handed in life. Like, for so long, I just want to be the lead guy, lead pastor, wanted my thing, my platform, my stage. And I would never admit that to you, but that was my ugly sin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, I'm like, Lord, hey, you give and take away.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you have. So I think when it comes to time, your approach to time is what really matters. Now, managing time, I just realize right now that there has to be sacrifices. Michelle understands that there has to be sacrifices inside my time. But I think we took this approach to ministry when we had the twins. We're just going to do everything together.
Yeah.
Like, we're just going to do everything possibly we can do together. We're going to do together. So I sent 50 emails yesterday. My daughter's sitting right next to me. I had an hour to work. I worked on my business an hour yesterday. That was all I had. Yeah. And daughter's sitting right next to me. They've helped me pack boxes. I've taken Jax on sales meetings before.
Hey, let me tell you something. That kid's a stud.
Dude.
That's your closer right there.
Hey, no joke. We sat down. This is one of our first meetings we had, and I give this guy the whole spill on Stroke Scan, how we can work with you, and you can optimize 50, 75% profit margins. And Jax, who talks nonstop, okay, he's just like me.
He's awesome.
He has a packet of Stroke Scan stick pack, and it looked like a mafia movie. He just slides it across the table and looks him in the eyes and sits back. And I was like, dude, you're going with me everywhere, because there's no way this guy's saying no.
That's great.
But yeah, I mean, that's a bit of a long answer. I think your approach to time is what matters. More, I think your approach to time is what matters more than managing time, if that makes sense.
That does, yes.
I believe my business has made me a better pastor. I love my church more than I've ever loved my church. I love my senior pastor more than I've ever loved my senior pastor. I love our team and the people that I work with more than I ever have. I think we all know if you love something, like, you're not even thinking about the requirement it takes and the toll it takes on you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
As far as family goes, I think, and I have a fabulous business partner and a boss and pastor in Andy. Like, if there's something going on with the kids, there's no like, hey, you need to skip that.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? It's like, be there. And so that's our highest value. That's mine and Michelle's highest value right now, is like, let's raise a family and then be there for each other. As far as Michelle and I go, this is one thing that we've worked through for, how long have we been married, babe? 13 years next month, right? That's something we've worked through, but we try to operate our life off of three things: communication, collaboration, and trust. And so we know the more that we communicate, just the better it's going to be.
Yeah.
That's a Google Calendar. That's that's the 10 minutes of just sitting down at the kitchen table after the kids go to bed and we're tired and we want to go to bed and just talk about whatever it is that's going on. But then there's also collaboration. I'm preaching. I'm sorry. You're good. So you go from communication to collaboration. Collaboration is tension moments and being okay with tension. Have the difficult conversation. Express where you are currently, even if you don't fully know it. And then the third thing has to happen naturally is trust. Is that man, I have trust in you. I can finish your sentence. I know what you're thinking, right? But those first two have to come first. You have to communicate. You have to collaborate and be okay with that. And I think we do that well, So, I feel like I'm giving long answers.
No, that's great.
That
I mean, our listeners love that. I mean, that's some of the questions we get a lot is, how does someone control everything that you got going on, and so that's great. But man, it gives me chills. You saying what you said. For me as business owner, I tell people all the time that, I'm first and foremost, my faith is everything. Like that's where everything starts. And I've prayed over and over, God, I'm not a pastor, so where do I belong? In your work, in the work of God, where do I belong? And it took me a long time to realize that my business is my playground.
Yeah.
My business is, and I call my playground for Christ.
Yeah.
I know that sounds,
no, that's
I
cool.
like to use the word playground because it's an exciting place.
Yeah.
I don't like to say it's where I work.
And there's people on playgrounds.
That's it.
Yeah.
And people that kids are on playgrounds, so people that need direction and and so it excites me to hear, because that's kind of your mindset too when it comes to Stroke Gains, is that this is another opportunity, another place where I can share Christ, another place that I can carry out the calling God has on my life.
Yeah.
And I think taking that approach, and anybody listening that has done that would probably agree that it's different. Going to work is different. It changes the way you approach, the way you get up in the morning, and
it's your approach.
And you're like, oh man, I got to go to work. No, but I get to go to work.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity that there may be someone that I'm able to share Christ with, may be able to just show Christ. I mean, in the actions we take. Because let's be honest, there's times in business where I want to beat a hole in the wall. But how I react,
I get that.
How I react to situations, and I'll admit, and I'll tell Corey right now, lately, I've not done such a good job.
Hey.
The last about 2 months, it's been just kind of, I'm kind of in that moment of head spin. So I appreciate this, because this is kind of a reminder that for me to get back to why I do what I do.
Well, I think here's when I've started to become healthy. And God, what y'all put in that coffee? I want to cry. I kept trying to become all these things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in my mind, it was, what can I become? And that comes through, it's a lot of digging that God has to do on the inside of you, from father wounds to your own pride that is so much deeper than we even realize. And I just came to a realization, like outside looking in, the world looks at me as executive pastor and entrepreneur and husband and father and coach. But at the end of the day, I'm one thing, and that's son.
Yeah.
And I couldn't, and I don't think I still, if I'm honest, fully grasp it, but I'm beginning to, that like, I have one requirement in this world. Even if God strips me away of everything, it's just to be a son. And I think for listeners, that is your requirement, is to be son or daughter. And we talked about this last night. I thought I knew the desires of my heart, because the word tells us that, right?
Yeah.
He'll give you the desires of your heart. And in your mind, you're thinking that's a Bugatti, right? That's, like a jacked up 2500, whatever.
Yeah.
And I thought the desires of my heart were all these positions and titles that I could do, that I'm going to be like main stage at art conference, being like the main guy who's crushing it in our association. And the word says that he'll give you the desires of your heart. It doesn't say that you know what those are. He knows what those are. He knows them better than you do. He hand knit your heart together.
That's right.
Right. And I never knew that the healthiest stage of my life and my approach to life would be beginning a business in the supplement and golf world.
Right.
And I'm having the time of my life. I genuinely mean that. I'm having the time of my life. This is the most fun I've ever had in my life, with my kids, with my wife, in ministry, and in business. And I'm stressed, and I'm tired, and I love it.
Yeah.
Right? My response to being stressed, tired, worn out 2-3 years ago was a much different response than how I respond now.
So I'm going to try to, because we talked about a little bit of when I was in ministry and I came out of ministry, and I kind of want to ask a question, because I think this leads right into where this podcast is centered around. When I was a pastor, Jeremiah was, 1 to 2 years old, and I was working 80 hours a week, and to be honest, like, me and the senior pastor started having different, like, and there's nothing wrong. It was just, that was his vision, and and I just didn't see that was my spot anymore. Like, it was my heart was changing towards it. And so when we went our separate ways, I had my purpose so tied into me being a pastor that when that got taken away and I didn't find another kind of place that I could fill that gap, I actually went into clinically was diagnosed with depression.
Yeah.
And so went to therapy, which I'm a huge component of therapy. I still go to this day.
Yeah.
I still once a month talk to my guy, but it's like I lost who I thought I was, and the thing is, like, I lost what I thought I was gonna be.
Yeah.
And so when that happened, the purpose, the drive, everything was gone, and I just kind of sat there in just a space. And then, you guys know me, I can talk to a wall. And so then once that happened, COVID hit.
Oh God. Yeah.
So I'm already depressed, and I go through COVID, and I worked a job at that point that they told us to work from home.
Yeah.
And no contact with the outside world. It was just me, my ex-wife, and Jeremiah in the house.
Yeah.
And when you're a extroverted person, and when that's all you have to get,
Yeah.
because that was a problem. I was waiting on others to make me happy,
Yeah.
and not realizing that happiness is an inside job.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that's got to come within me.
Yeah.
And so when I went through all that, and went through a very, very tough period in my life, and ended up walking away from the church even.
Yeah.
And look, I've talked about it on the podcast, and I'm so thankful to Jesus because he gave me the grace to come back.
Yeah. I'm thankful
And
too.
it's awesome. But I guess the question I want to ask you is, when you were going through that tough period and stuff, do you feel like your purpose drifted, and now starting Stroke Gains,
Yeah.
you've kind of had a shift of purpose, which has kind of reinvigorated everything inside of you and kind of energized every part of your life?
Yeah. You said something in the middle of it that I think is so overlooked in the Christian faith. And I'll begin it with this, is that salvation is free, but refinement will cost you everything.
Mm.
And if you want to know the character and the nature and the person of Jesus, there's no opting out of that. You have to be refined. Again, it's our approach and perspective. When we're in the middle of it, it's really hard to see what God's doing, and it's very painful. But he's going down to the roots of you. Andy High says, crazy illustration. He says, he takes his divine flashlight and goes down the depths of your soul, shines on that stuff. And I think it's so true, because you said I had lost my position and my title and like almost lost who I was. And that's a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because for God to really construct us in his likeness, we have to die. So to answer your question on like, did he shift those things? The short answer is yes. The real answer is I had to die, if that makes sense. There's portions inside of me that I have to be willing to admit, confront, because whether you like it or not, you're either going to admit it and confront it in a healthy way, or it's going to come out in an unhealthy way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what happens to pastors, bro, is they have to be the guy, the example for an entire congregation. And then what can easily happen, this is the trick of the enemy, is that it start to ignore the depths of your own depravity inside of you, because you got to be the guy for everybody. And then, dude, it's why we see pastors fall by the wayside, because it's almost not fair.
Yeah.
Because, man, like, I don't want to give the enemy credit, but he's been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
And he'll play that long game on you. And so I think, like, yeah, I even had someone ask me about, like, the whole church planting thing the other day. They were like, I guess I don't know how it works. Does that dream just, like, shift, or you still got it in you? I was like, man, it's dead.
Yeah.
It's dead. And here's what's dead. Like, if God opens the door, I'll walk through it.
Absolutely.
To be a senior pastor. But I'm just literally here, open, like palms to the sky. Hey, whatever you got, I'll receive. And I'm trying to stay there. I'm trying to stay right there. I'm a very ambitious person, right? I'd be lying to you right now if I don't think about the day that Coca-Cola comes to us and is like, we want to buy your company.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I'm like in a negotiating table.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a movie in my mind. I have to back myself off of those.
Yeah.
I'd be like, no, we need more orders today. You know what I mean? But I think I know we came to talk about business and leadership. I can't not talk about Jesus. I don't know why.
That's what this podcast is about.
But I think he has to break us down, and he has to kill the selfish ambition inside of us and put a kingdom ambition inside of us, right? Because whatever you feed will grow, whatever you starve will die, right? Full transparency. Our company's not profitable yet.
Yeah.
Right.
We were until like 3 days ago, and we ordered our third product.
Right.
And I'm like, we're trying to do this thing debt free, and it's like so hard. And I'm like, dying on the inside all over again. But in the process of that, I guess this isn't like a money maker that I'm having right now. But I had a serious conversation with the Lord yesterday. Not a long one, but a serious one of like, hey, I know this will become profitable, and I feel like the Lord's already told me what he wants me to do with the first fruits that I have with that money. Like, and I'm gonna do it because I'm here again.
Yeah.
I'm open-handed. And so, I think overall, the perspective and approach shifts, but it has to be because something in you dies.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where the Lord's kind of been. It's just I'm okay with the ride now.
Yeah.
Like where I was like, and me and you talked about this. Every young pastor that's a youth pastor or whatever thinks that it's you do youth pastor for a while, then you become like an associate pastor, then you get a campus, and then you're going to plant a church. And how foolish I was that I thought I knew at 22 years old that I knew my plan for my life.
Yeah.
And what I told you is like, it's so funny that sitting here today, I feel like I am exactly what God made me to
Isn't that
do.
the best place in the world?
And it's so awesome. It's so freeing. But at the same time, if he came and said, "Hey, listen, we're gonna stop doing this," okay.
Because
What else am I gonna say?
Yeah.
And I sometimes ask myself that question. I'll be like, if God put it in my heart right now to sell every one of my businesses and go into something totally different approach, how would I respond?
Yeah, and it'd be a fight.
And if I tell myself if I see that it would anger me, it would frustrate me, then I know right there that's the trigger that I've got an unhealthy relationship with what I do. You could say.
Yeah.
Now you're right. There would be we're human. We're like,
Yeah,
God,
we
I
would
just
have a
built.
Jacob moment.
Yeah, absolutely. But then I ask myself, but would I be willing?
Yeah.
Once it take all the frustrations and all the why gods out of it, would I be willing to? And I believe that if the answer is yes, then I continue to be where I need to be. And when that moment happens, I believe there'll be a day that I'm no longer the owner of Yoders Woodworks. I believe there'll be a day where I'm no longer the owner of Yoder Metal. I mean, if I die, of course, but I'm talking because I know God has, you could say, T's in the road in our lives. Yeah. And but I want to be willing. If this is my life, I'm gonna be willing. I'm gonna sit right here and I'm gonna ride it out.
Well, one of my favorite movies is Troy. Brad Pitt.
Good movie.
He's shredded. And he comes up kind of that David and Goliath moment and comes in with the sword, puts it in his neck, the Drudge Warrior.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm able to talk about that, but
No,
I love dude movies.
that's
My
awesome
gosh,
movie.
they're awesome. The whole premise of his character in that movie is that he wants to be remembered. Right? I think, especially for men, that is what we want more than anything else. We want to be remembered. So and I believe God put it in us, is we're builders, we're creators, right? Different animal, like birds build nests, ants build beds, right? I believe we're made in the image and likeness of God. Therefore, we were made to create.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? We were meant to build something.
He put things
from
on this
the
earth.
dust up, right?
He put things in this earth for that. Yes.
I believe you honor God when you do that wholeheartedly. But there is a intertwining of the wires where we come to, I want to be remembered for what I do. Again, our perspective and approach has to shift from, let's be honest, like 3 generations of my family from now, they're probably not even going to remember my name, right? Like, hopefully I'll leave something to them, but like my monetary gain is only going to go so far. And so we want to be remembered by people, but when we take our shift in perspective approach over to a confidence in, I'm remembered by God for all of eternity.
Yeah.
Which one matters more?
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
And hey, and pastors, like, that's kind of like, if we were to get honest with ourselves, like, I want to be a Spurgeon.
Yeah.
Well, cool, bro. Let me go to the streets of New York right now. And how many people you think are going to know who Charles Spurgeon is when I ask them? Nobody. Unless they're a
pastor.
Calvinist, you know, that happens to be walking down the... And so, if you're Calvinist, I love you. All right. I kind of am too. Mostly. I'm 4 out of 5. And so that's what we want. We want our approach to be that. Like, instead of, I want to do things that get me remembered. Well, outside of the 4 or 5 people, if we're completely honest, no one's going to remember
Nobody
you.
is.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to remember you.
Nope.
Let's say you do something good enough to get your name on a brick on a building. No one's looking at it.
No.
Right? Nobody's looking at it. And that's what I wanted. That's what I was searching for so long. When you take it from position to being a son, I realized, like, oh, I got one that remembers me.
Yeah.
And he's going to do it for all eternity.
Yeah,
That's
so
it.
That's
great. It's difficult at times.
Yeah.
But if you just think that my job is just to be, like, I say it like this in my head, is my only job is to be a worshiper.
Yeah.
Like, just love Jesus
in everything, in
Yeah.
every aspect of life.
and it really and it really covers a lot of aspects, and you know, me and you, the Lord shows up in weird times,
Yeah.
right? And he shows up in conversations. Like, that's why I love my job, is I get to interact with some really cool contractors and homeowners and stuff, and get to have really cool God conversations.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to do that as a pastor,
Yeah.
because and here's the thing, most, like, churchgoers or non-churchgoers see you as a pastor and they're intimidated,
And they won't talk to you.
and they will not talk to you. But just a sales guy behind the counter.
Yeah.
I had one Monday. This dude came and sat down, and me and him were just talking about, what did we get talking about? We talked about Peter,
Yeah.
and I was laughing about how funny the Bible is at times, and how John is writing his gospel,
Yeah.
and he says that he is the disciple whom Jesus most loved,
Yeah.
and like, how hilarious
Dude,
that
the
is.
Bible's so funny.
Yeah,
People miss
and
it.
And then he also straight up says that he beat Peter in
Yeah.
a foot race,
Yeah.
which is
So he
hilarious. Like, I sent a meme that it was like John getting ready to run to the tomb, and it's like a dude stretching. But you know, and I get to have really cool conversations, and I'm super thankful for Clinton, because he always encourages. That was one of the things that, I don't even know if you remember this, in my interview you asked me, you said, if either you or your dad asked me, said, if a guy wanted to stand at the counter and have a 30-minute conversation with you about Jesus, would you stand there and talk to him?
Yeah.
And I was like,
That's
yeah.
tough.
I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, because that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I've never had somebody ask me that in an interview,
That's good.
and like, that encouraged to share my faith and stuff. So it's a cool thing, and thank you.
Absolutely. Let's take a moment.
Yeah.
We have one more sponsor that we want to highlight.
Come on.
Farmhouse, good coffee. So
Yes, it's good.
take a moment here and take a look.
There is just something about the first sip of coffee in the morning. It sets the tone for the whole day. And if you're like us, you know that not just any coffee will do.
That's why we start our mornings with Farmhouse Coffee. Freshly brewed, handcrafted, and served straight from their coffee truck. Their coffee isn't just a drink, it's an experience.
Whether you need a smooth cup of coffee to ease you into the day, or a bold brew to fuel your hustle, they've got you covered. No gimmicks, no shortcuts, just great coffee made fresh every single time.
And the best part, they're always on the move, bringing their amazing coffee to different spots around town.
To find where they are setting up next, check out Farmhouse Coffee's Facebook page, and trust us, once you taste the difference, you'll be tracking them down every single morning.
Farmhouse Coffee, brewed fresh, served with purpose. All right, guys, welcome back in. So, continuing the conversation here, someone told me this the other day, and it kind of took me back. Like we were sitting around eating steaks, and I'm not going to mention the name, and we were just talking life.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and he said, "Clinton, I don't think you realize how many people look at what you're doing and want to be you."
Mm-hmm.
And where I want to go with this is it took me back hard. And I asked myself, if I would look at me, would I want to be who I am?
Yeah.
It also made me think, am I actually leading out of example the way that I should be in all aspects of my life? And I think sometimes we have to understand that we have more people in our lives that look up to us than we ever realize.
Yeah.
People that say, "Man, you see what? Man, you hear what Travis is doing? Man, that should be just a dream of mine." And we in our heads think we kind of have this thing of, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I'm just me. I mean,
yeah.
What do I have that's better than you? I mean,
yeah.
And so I think we have to be extremely careful as leaders that we paint the picture that God wants us to paint.
Yeah.
That He is the center of our universe. That everything we have, everything we do, everything we say is because of Him. And I said that earlier in this podcast, but I want to emphasize that be careful what you wish for.
Mm-hmm. You might get it.
Because you might get it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a bigger responsibility than we as leaders even realize in our own heads.
Yeah.
Of what we have to, or of what we're portraying to others in some of the smallest ways, you could say. But when that gentleman told me that, I was like, I even looked at him and said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Look, you have, you're successful in business. You have a family that people love. You talked about the podcast, talked about this, talked about that." And when I thought about that, I was like, I mean, there is a lot, but if people would be in this head,
yeah, if you really got like in here
and know this,
yeah.
So I don't know. I wanted just to say that. I mean, I think we sometimes miss that we are actually, we have more than what we ever imagined we actually have.
Yeah. You know, I think a good example, Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, little backstory. I have since been delivered by God from what I'm about to say. I used to be the guy that would argue that LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan. Okay. Until COVID, The Last Dance, the documentary comes out. My father-in-law and I watch it. And I realized something is that Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player to ever play. But there was a spiritual reason for it. When you watch that documentary, he's sitting there. He's got his bourbon right next to him. His eyes look like they've been dropped in sweet tea. They're so jaundice looking. And he's still bitter at people for a game. He still has hardly any expression. And he's the definition of what good is it for a man to gain the whole world but lose his own soul.
Amen.
That's why he's the greatest. $2 billion shoe brand, 6 championship rings, played 2 professional sports. And I realized something like people look from the outside and they're like, I want to be that. I don't want that.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want the whole world and lose who God created me to be. I think it's about our approach
and perspective.
and perspective,
Yes.
right? One of my best friends in the world is on PGA Tour, Trey Mullinax, and man, he's really pursuing the Lord right now. And what's really neat to watch with him is his perspective shift on what he wants out of life. And everyone would say, I have said it, is that, man, wouldn't it be so great to be on tour? You get to go play the best golf courses in the world, travel around. Dude, I've really gotten to know him. I don't want it.
Yeah.
I have to travel around. Number one, he's got 47 kids, okay? And I don't like traveling with my 2 on a plane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they have to go from place to place. And then, you know how it is with children. When you're away from them for 20 minutes, you start missing them.
Yeah.
Right? So if he goes, off to, cool, I'm in L.A. playing, but I don't have my family with me, which stinks. And he has to go all these different places. He misses ball games. And Corey and I talk about that.
Yeah.
I'm like, the thing I hate the most in this world is missing kids' events. Like, I had to preach on Easter, on Good Friday. And this is bad, what I'm about to say. But I was texting with my father-in-law about just about every pitch that was thrown backstage.
Yeah.
Because I want to be a great dad.
Yes.
Right,
You know what I mean?
I got to ask you later on
Oh, no.
about something.
Oh, God.
But we'll do that in off
Yeah.
camera. But yeah, it's just a cool place to be. Like, and that's the other thing is like I know I give my boys like.
Say it. I'm just playing.
My boys, I rule them with iron fist.
No, you are so nice.
So, I don't know about that. It's because Jeremiah, I can give him a look now. And that little one.
Isn't that awesome? Isn't that a superpower?
Oh, it's so awesome. Like, I can just cut my eyes at him and he knows that hey, whatever you're doing, cease and desist.
Yeah.
So.
Saying that, my son actually told me that the other day. We're driving down the road and he said, Dad, how do you give that look that makes us listen? And I'm like, what do you mean? I was like,
there's a sermon in that.
What do you
sermon
mean?
in that one.
Yeah.
What do you mean? And I was like, he said, you just give us a look and we know that that's it.
Yeah. Now the little one, he ain't got that look yet. He's a little bit, but
he'll learn.
Gosh, Lord, he is so awesome. He's gonna be my brawler.
Yeah.
Like on a baseball team, you got to have one guy that is ready to fight at a moment's notice.
He's either going to be a draft pick or a con pick.
Yeah,
one of the
I've
two.
said he's either going to be the president of the United States or a leader of a prison gang. There's no in between.
Which sounds about on par.
So but Jer's sweet little heart that he just has not a fighting bone in his body. But the reason I said them, I never thought that I would be so like I've always wanted to be a dad, and that's partly because I have an amazing dad.
Yeah.
My dad, if I'm half the dad my dad is, my boys are going to be extremely, extremely blessed. And but the way I love seeing them walk through life is just incredible.
It's the best part of
it's
life.
just like seeing, last night Jared hit a tank.
No, he did
of
on
a
the
ball.
6th pitch.
Yeah, Lord, he just put the barrel on the ball, kid.
Oh, he did.
And seeing him round the bases, get a home run, and then seeing the joy come out of him yelling like he just walked off the World Series.
When he ran home, as soon as he crossed home plate, he's clapping those hands together like, let's go. And I'm like, you get him, Jared.
Yeah, and seeing those little moments, like I talked to you about, like me and him, God shows up so many times in our lives, and we don't know. Like, you're not in a church, you're not even actively looking for him.
Yeah.
And he shows up. Like I talked to you about last night, Jared's working on pitching.
Yeah.
And he looked like a stud working.
Yeah.
I mean, come and set, big leg kick, threw me one, and just, hurt my finger.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang, kid.
Yeah.
And the Holy Spirit's like, isn't this great? Like, and I'm like,
God.
it is.
Yeah.
Like, how did you, like,
This
you
is
don't
living.
you don't
Yeah.
know, like, it's the little things in life that the Holy Spirit gives you that you think, and it goes back to what we've kind of all been talking about, is you think you know what you want,
And you don't.
but you don't.
Yeah.
Until those little moments that, your kids do something or some little success happens or something like that, and the Holy Spirit's just like, hey, this is what I was talking about the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
You thought it was this,
Yeah.
but honestly, it was just this.
Yeah.
And them little things is where that joy is found. I mean, we always want this big thing to happen in our lives, but them small little moments, man, it's just that's where that joy that and you said that about seeing your son rounding the bases and that feeling. We're made in the image of God, right?
Yeah.
How many times do you think, and I picture this sometimes, that when there's a win in our lives, that we see our Father, God, he's like, look at him.
Same way. Isn't this great?
Look at him.
Yeah.
That proud father moment.
Yeah.
I read a book by Louis Giglio, said, understanding truly who your father is. It's something that may not be exact. And I read it, and man, it brought a total different view of how God views us.
Yeah.
You said about being son.
Yeah. Just be a son.
Be a son. And I was like, that's what me being a proud father. I mean, that's God. If he sees, there's moments where he's just straight proud of us. I believe that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree, man. I think that there are moments where, and I don't know, I've recently started saying this, but like, let's just do something that puts a smile on God's face.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's at the end of the day, that's more gratitude, affirmation, and fulfillment than anything I can accomplish on my own.
I agree 100%. So, well, we got to wrap it up.
I know.
Sorry.
No. We just we could keep going, and
100%. I think we said this last time that we could probably split our conversation into 2 episodes with you.
I've always
A docu-series.
Yeah. So Travis, before we get out of here, I want you to kind of just give, if you could give the audience, somebody that's watching, just some encouragement, a piece of advice, or something that that could help them in their journey to trying to lead with a purpose and finding that, or maybe it's, hey, the encouragement to take the step to get into business or whatever they're kind of venturing into.
Yeah, we can probably go twofold with it. As far as like business and leadership goes, man, I would encourage just the 3 words that I said before: go, ready, fire, then aim. Just get into it. Screw it all up, mess up. As John Maxwell says, fail forward, right? In our business right now, man, I've learned we don't have a staff. When we get there one day, I'm going to understand the team structure, the culture, exactly how I want it, right? But right now, we need sales. So I'm learning how to sell. develop a new skill, right? I get pretty irritated when I hear people say I'm just not wired that way. And I'm like, okay, I get it. We all have strengths and weaknesses, but man, you can make weaknesses strengths sometimes, right? So sure, you might not be wired that way, but don't let that be an excuse why you don't start doing something incredible, right? My business partner and I, we're two completely different types of humans, and like we fuss and fight, and there is a no greater love than this, one who would lay down their life for their friends, with me and my business partner. But both of us had to come to a place where we just said, let's just go for it. And we've messed it up. I'm learning how to sell. I'm learning how not to sell. I'm learning how to do this and that, and website optimization, and SEOs, and PPC ads, and I'm developing these new things that I never even knew what they were until I got into it. So I would just say, develop new skills, jump into it, fire first, then start aiming. Man, from the spiritual side, I think there's pretty cool how the Lord led us today. Just be a son or a daughter. Like, come to that revelation. Probably somebody who's listening that needs to understand that refinement is a beautiful thing. Lean into it.
Yeah. I love it. Good words. Hey, listeners, you hear it. We just don't quit. I mean, don't give up.
Yeah.
There's so many people out there that will start something, and then tough time hits, they stop, they give up on their dream, and allow God to lead you in the way that give it to Him. Let go according to His will, and He will lead you places you never imagined. So don't quit, don't give up. That's my word of encouragement. Whatever you're in, you may not be a business owner, but you may be making a big impact in a business of some kind, and you can also be great in that area. So I think we're going to close it down, guys. Yeah. I think we're going to close it down. So we do have our merches in. We are about to. The website's up, I think. I don't know if it's live, but Corey got
a little pullover here.
Pullover right there.
Praise God, I love it.
So we got a few things, and Sean, I'm not sure. The website should be up in the next. I mean, it's up, but like I said, we're still adding the merch and everything on it. So
yes, the website is live, but we are in a sense modeling the merch and getting that on the website.
Yeah, we got
getting prices together.
We got Corey over here as our model.
Yeah.
And,
that's not a good thing. Not a good thing.
So
it's what the audience wanted.
That's it. That's right. So we love y'all guys. Keep fighting. Don't stop. Lead with a purpose. Lead from the heart.
Come on.
Like and share. Subscribe. Do it all. Whatever it consists of.
And go buy a bunch of stroke gains.
Come on, baby.
Yeah, absolutely.
Strokesgain.com.
Hey, every one of y'all listening need more electrolytes.
Yep.
And use Yoders Talk.
Yeah, Yoders Talk. Absolutely. 100%. Use Yoders Talk. You'll see that in the commercial, and I think on the bottom of.
Yeah, I think so.
Sean, you do all that stuff. I don't know. Just go
Sean's
to it
man.
and watch it and look at it, and you'll find it.
Check out the link in the description below.
That's it. That's what I'm looking for.
Sean.
Thank you. All right, guys, we love you. God bless you. Always lead with a purpose. See you on the next episode. We love you.
That was a good throw.
Guys, thank you so much for spending some time with us here on Yoders Talk today. We hope that you heard something that you can apply to your life and make your life better and a more positive impact on those around you.
If you like what you heard, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, comment, and please share to others. You can also find our content on Spotify, Facebook, and TikTok.
We're excited also to bring you some new merch this season. Click the link below and you can go there and find you some awesome, great quality t-shirts, hats, hoodies, whatever you see there, and hopefully you can truly enjoy that. But without further ado, I want to leave this with you. Always lead with a purpose. God bless you.